Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to a new TEW2020 video. You join us for something a little bit different as we're heading on the road to Grand Slam. I felt like because we just had the rosters effectively being moved around a little bit, the draft happening, it was probably best to actually see a week in AEW. So this video will cover just a normal Dynamite, a normal Carnage and a normal Rampage that I would basically book. And we can see if my booking's boring, mundane, or if it's actually pretty decent. But it'll give you an idea of who's on what brand as we head towards Grand Slam in basically a week and a half actually. So you can see a 78 last week wasn't the best result for me, booking Dynamite. And with the main event of Walter defending his championship against Carmelo Casanova, the All-Atlantic champion, where here they didn't click, so that's why that bombed, although Cody versus Pete Dunne was a success. So the good thing is I can kind of give an idea of what I kind of book. So traditionally on a Dynamite, obviously a 3-hour show, I'll book anywhere between obviously the 175 and 185 minutes that you can. 177 is fine here. It says the show can be 70% matches. I'll always be low 80s, high 70s if I'm being honest. I will always target to have 140 minutes worth of matches. So I do book a lot of matches. And then it's mostly just promos, small videos, etc, etc. So you can see here there's quite a lot going on, a 20 segment show, but truthfully probably could be a bit more. It's really a case of in these episodes I just really make everybody look as strong as possible with the payoff on pay-per-view. So we'll crack on, we'll try and explain everything as we go along, people's viewpoints, characters, etc. for Dynamite, because obviously we still have 2 more shows to cover. Let's see. So I decided to start the show with Walter in the ring, just saying it's a fantastic title defence against Carmelo Casanova. He's aware that he's got Cody Rhodes coming up, so we'll have Cody come out and just say he's looking forward to it, shake hands, etc. Interrupted by Carmelo, interrupted by Pete Dunne, and they both just say, you know what, we've put up fighting efforts recently, and they think they can beat Cody Rhodes, so why don't they face him in tonight's main event? So it was just me setting up the triple threat match, getting the cheap, high-rated segment at the start. You could probably say it as WWE booking in a sense where, at least when I watched it, it was always like you had your main eventers out, you basically setting up the main event straight away off the back of the show rather than straight into action. So I like to do this with my TV and with most of my pay-per-views as well, just purely so that big segment's hot early and you can have a bit of fun with the rest of the show. So 92 for that. Pete Dunne not doing well without the script because Cody doesn't like to be scripted. I then moved along, I had a decent match up here as Anna Jay defeated Tam Nakano with a scissors kick. At 72, Anna's obviously one of our best developed talent. She's obviously had mentorship from QT Marshall and she's still training at the Nightmare Factory, so she's getting more over and over. Then a promo from Garza Jr., he's just been called back up from Impact Wrestling, so we're probably going to go on a push with Garza, and he just talks about how it was good to go away from there. It was good to get more experience, round his game up a little bit, and he feels he's going to be a major player going forward. His match up against Blake Christian, pretty good, wins in 8:42 with a win clipper, 75 rated match. We then had a good wrestling match here that had a decent reaction from the crowd as Deonna Purrazzo defeated Takuma Iroha in 9:35 with the Fujiwara armbar in 82. Both ladies not having the greatest of overness into the high to mid 60s, although here the good performance from Iroha basically elevated this, but Deonna is someone we are going to push forward as you'll see in a second, although good 82 rated match, because she decides to call out the TBS champion Willow Nightingale. She says she's been biding her time, she had a good time in the Danielson Fight Dojo, but she believes she can beat Willow Nightingale and she believes she can become TBS champion. 67. Then had a tag team match up here that had some great wrestling and good heat, as the Young Bucks in one of their first matches back together defeated Proud and Powerful in 12:24 when Matt pinned Ortiz with the Meltzer driver. Nick carried the match up, who's also getting a little bit stale, so I'll need to make a note of that I have to change the next gimmick. Although in 82, and these kind of ones, it's like just obviously getting Matt to a higher level of overness, because obviously he's missed a year. Proud and Powerful are on a little bit of a losing streak, so it's a case of, they'll eventually need to turn the corner because they're a fantastic hand to have. We then have some words from Kevin Steen and El Generico, and they just basically say the Young Bucks, they will get their revenge on them. And they're basically here issuing the challenge for Grand Slam. Generico and Steen versus the Young Bucks to show that, even though the Super Elite aren't done with Steen and Generico, they can at least take those two out. 83. And then a little hype package for Prince Devitt, just showing all his stuff in New Japan. 63. We're going to go with one last run with him since he's 45. And here he took on the upstart, Kyoto Kayoma. And he wins at 11:39, a double knee gutbuster. A 73. He is on a bit of physical decline, but it's Devitt, man. We need to give him that one last opportunity. We had a good match up here that had some great wrestling and good heat, as Andrade El Idolo defeated Shota Umino in 13:23 with a Brilliante driver. Andrade on form is such a good hand in this save, and 92 in-ring performance. Shota, nothing too shabby, as they bring a very good match up here to continue the rise of LFI. Rush was also in action as he took on Cedric Alexander, and Rush defeats him in 13:30 with Lalanza, a 77. This would have been a bit better if it wasn't for the awkward pairing of Cedric and his manager Candy Rose. It's a frustrating one because they don't work together as a pairing, but they're a couple in game. As Cedric, I think Candy Rose would have been single, which obviously was Mandy Rose, and his went with Cedric Alexander, so I thought I'll put them together. But as you can see here, it doesn't work. But this was all about making Rush stronger, putting him over, and gaining some momentum. We then hear from Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, and they just basically say, although they respect obviously the nasty things that LFI have done, the cheating to win, etc., they know they would have done the exact same themselves. They want those tag team championships, and even though it is two villainous teams, they want to battle them at Grand Slam. So basically setting up Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood versus LFI. We then had a good match up here. Will Ospreay defeated Isaiah Cassidy in 12:36 with a Stormbreaker. A simple match to give Ospreay a win. Truthfully, he's one of those talents I've just criminally underused, and Will really needs a push going forward. We then had some words with Demi Bennett. She says it's still frustrating her that she cannot get the big win over Mayu Iwatani. She's going to get there. She can get Iwatani out of her mind, and she is going to be the greatest women's wrestler in the company and in the globe. It's basically, she is going to win it eventually. It's just pulling the trigger at the right moment, because the Mayu title reign is fantastic. Decent match next is Elena Black defeated Julia Hart in 7:43. 65 rated matchup. Elena obviously over from Rampage. She has a little boost of popularity because of gaining muscle and a 5-point star quality boost, which was good. But the young protege of Charlotte Flair could not get the job done. However, that trio tandem, of course, Charlotte and of course with Camille alongside as well, the three of them beat the crap out of Elena Black, which is going to lead to a little program down the line by all of these. Main event time for Rampage. It will be in a second as Walter comes down to do colour commentary. 69. The match itself, can Pete Dunne carry it with the psychology? He can, as a superb matchup. Cody Rhodes defeats Carmelo, Casanova and Pete Dunne in 22:05 when Cody Rhodes pinned Carmelo with the Crossroads. Is just gaining Cody some momentum heading towards Grand Slam, and 3 good performances there. Carmelo the worst at a 78 performance. After the matchup, 2v1 attack on Cody Rhodes, but Walter runs in and makes the save. Walter's a star, Cody was fantastic. The show itself done okay in 86. I'm quite happy with the kind of shows on television. We're never going to really get much pop now on a television show. Popularity gains, it's all going to be declines, which you'll probably see on Carnage. But as I say, that was enough for Rampage with the Dynamite. With the batter through these shows, with 2 more to go in this video. It's time for Carnage. So here we are with the Carnage episode. Pretty much would sum this up to be like WWE ECW. It's probably the best comparison. It's half developmental, half just people going on here to basically refine their characters and maybe gain some momentum because they may have slumped a little bit. So you may likely see pop loss. As I say, last week's main event saw Mayu Iwatani. She floats onto all 3 brands and she took on Hikaru Shida with a good win there. 15 segments, a mixture of youngsters, old timers, As I say, people looking for a change in direction, and Mayu Iwatani will give it a chance against Indi Hartwell, who has not really done too much, I must say. She is in chilly momentum, so it's just really a case of seeing what she can do, giving her opportunity, because it could take one good matchup and that could completely change the course of their career. So let's crack on with Carnage. So first off, we had the AEW Mixed Tag Team Championships on the line in our opener. It was the champions Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, and they defeated Anthony Green and Haruka Umasaki in a 59 rated matchup. Fun little opener here. Anthony Green is a one-off appearance and he teamed up with Umasaki, but the champions get the win. And a really good performance here from Kip Sabian with his 73. After the matchup, they just basically cut a promo saying the most dominant couple within AEW, and they're just like, really, this is the best that AEW has to offer in this division. We then had a matchup in the tag division. The Kingdom defeated the Regal Brothers, two of our new gens, in 9:52, with Matt Taven pinning Gabriel Regal with an arm trap headlock driver. Good victory here for the Kingdom. I've just been using them kind of to win some matches, to lose some matches, but I feel like when I swap computer and I get different pictures for these two, I wasn't getting the same vibe from them, so hopefully one day I can pick it up with the Regal Brothers, but it is the Kingdom who reign over the former AEW Evolve Tag Team Champions. We then have a promo from the Fatu Brothers, who have moved over to Carnage, and they just say it's interesting that the Kingdom are on this big winning run. Well, how about they step up to another level and see how they fare against the Fatu Brothers next week on Carnage 58. Then have a promo from Steph DeLanda. She says it's good to find their feet here in AEW, but she wants to just show how good a wrestler she is by eventually claiming that Queen of AEW title. 58. Her matchup was against Mizuki, and she wins in 8:08 with the TKO flatliner even. We're still building her up, only a 51. They had great chemistry together, but because they are still pre-show workers, effectively, in terms of the audience, that's going to hit the matchup. But I'd rather have these on this particular episode, on Carnage, and allow them just to develop along and get TV time they maybe wouldn't get on Dynamite or Rampage. We then have some words from Powerhouse Hobbs, and he just says it's time for him to kick on here on Carnage, and he says he'll give a really interested spectator in the reign of Brody King as your AEW Evolve champion, and he says maybe that championship belt will look good in the hands of Powerhouse Hobbs. 60. We then had the Queen of AEW Championship on the line, another defence for Carmelo, as we gain her some momentum. She took on Millie McKenzie and she won in 10:32 with the cross arm breaker. Fifth defence, a 65, so we're getting there with Tay. She's slowly but surely getting over. Of course, this was started way before her and Sammy Guevara even get together. So in this reality, in this world, that never happened. As of course Sammy's with Britt Baker, because that's how TW is with relationships and people cheating on each other. A few words from Carmelo. She just basically says she shows how good she was when she defeated Priscilla Kelly for that belt. She's going to just kick some ass here on Carnage. She's going to use her former, was it judo? I want to say, background. Because we've turned her into a dual sport superstar gimmick, so that would make sense. But she's just continuing to help the title gain popularity and prestige, and at the same time helping herself get over. Next up, the champ was in action. He took on Jonah, and he wins in 11:49 with the Gonzo Bomb. Wild Brawl, just basically giving Big Brody the win in a 74 rated match. Just confirm as well, Logan Paul is gone. He is away to New Japan, so I'll be intrigued to see how that goes over the next 2 years. But I just felt like if I ended up having Logan Paul on like a year-long reign, just the popularity gap he had to everyone else on the brand, but the technical skills just weren't quite where I wanted them, so he's New Japan's problem now. We then had a little confrontation, Brody King leaving the ring, Tyler Black coming to the ring, and they have a bit of a stare down. Black looking at that championship belt. Has he got his eyes on it? Only time will tell, but they're the 94 rated segment, and that will help us in terms of the long-term show rating. He was in action against Hirai Kawato, and he wins 11:55 with the curb stomp. Simple, effective victory. Good matchup, and some momentum gain for Tyler Black. Obviously, coming fresh off the feud with Shota Umino and Jon Moxley. We package to promote Maddie Winkowski. We'll just try to keep getting her over if we can. So your main event is going to be Mayu Iwatani versus Indi Hartwell. Maybe mid-70s. I don't know if Mayu can carry her any higher. Forgot about the little argument and brawl, between Ethan Page and Ua Nation. Basically, that's to set up a match next week. Heel versus babyface there, as we... I feel it's two workers I've kind of underutilised in the full save, but I think with Ethan Page we can certainly get there. Obviously with the promos, he'll probably see himself get a good move to take Carnage or to Rampage or Dynamite. Obviously, the faction previously. Words are so hard at this point. Alongside Cody Rhodes and Ricky Starks, but hopefully this could be his time, as he has a little feud there with Ua Nation. And then the main event matchup, and it actually did deliver an 80, which I'm really, really happy to see. Maybe we could have got an 82, depending if Indi could have been on our game. But a decent matchup. Mayu Iwatani defeated Indi Hartwell in 14:04 by winning via the diving double foot stomp. 23rd defence of the title. I'm just having her work every show, putting on banger after banger. But Mother mentality is she has good psychology that may rub off onto some of the other female workers. It might help their development and skill set. So I'm just trying to utilise her as best I can while I've still got her in her prime, because she has been solid. She's constantly putting on, she's over, good matches, she's 96. She's just probably the best talent I've used in this save, without a doubt. So we get an 80 overall. As I say, we do tend to lose popularity with this show, but our pop's that high with that much money. It doesn't really matter. It's really just an opportunity to showcase people we're trying to get over. But this is guaranteed they're going to get matches in time that they maybe wouldn't get on Dynamite or Rampage. So that's Carnage done. Let's move on to Rampage. Last but not least, we are on to the Rampage show, and as you can see there, we actually have quite short Rampage shows. They tend to only have maybe about 10 segments, but I usually fill the 2 hours with a lot of kick-ass matches. As you can see there, we did an 89 rated match there by Yamashita and Jade Cargill last week, which was pretty damn stellar. I like this one. It does feel like it is kind of SmackDown when it was behind Raw, but you still get a lot of good things on here with some pretty damn good workers. So there'll be a few of these feuds carrying on from last week. Let's jump in to this segment, beginning with MJF and his bodyguard, the Punishment Priest. And they're talking about how, well, it was a shame that Eddie Kingston was taken out before he could even get to the arena. He's not going to be here tonight, and it looks like, you know, they're just going to have to take on the knight in his shining armour, basically, the guy that saved him, and that was, of course, Konosuke Takeshita. And they've basically said, MJF Takeshita's tonight's main event, Priest will be there, Takeshita's got no chance in picking up the victory. So Takeshita comes out, they have a bit of a brawl, just calls him a jackass, etc. Sets up our main event with the 88 segment. Priest obviously is not long here. I think we've had him maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but aligned with MJF, and that's the plan going forward, because obviously he's a bit on in age. Then the matchup that saw Jack Perry defeat Calvin Tankman in 9:49 with a Canadian Destroyer. God knows how he did pull that off with the size difference, but fair play. 73, I think that's actually not too bad considering they didn't click and it made for an awkward bout. Moving along though, we see Jack head to the back and he has been laid out by Swerve. They had a bit of an altercation last week, a bit of, who the hell do you think you're, stepping on my turf kind of thing from Swerve, and he just leaves Jack Perry down and out. I feel too many of my feuds are maybe centralised around championships, but I'd like to see a pay-per-view match, especially in real life, between Swerve and Jack Perry. Moving along, we had the Shine Championship on the line, and it was Io Shirai who stepped up to challenge Chris Statlander, but it was Stat who picked up the win in 11:52 with the Area 451, giving her her 4th defence of the belt, a 74. Pretty solid stuff on her return from injury. However, she could possibly see injury in the future, and that is because she has Killer Kelly, who has her in her sights. She says she knows Statlander's weakness. She knows that injury that she had that took her out for a long period of time. I think it was a torn quad. And she said she's going to basically attack that, weaken it, and take that Shine Championship away from Statlander. 71. Then had some tag team action to try and get some momentum back into Bryan Danielson, since he's a full-time active competitor again. And wow, that is a poor performance from Daniel Garcia at 58. I expected way better from him. Wild Brawl may have been a factor in that. I know I'd done something. I wasn't sure if I went Wild Brawl or if I'd went Steal the Show. But good heat, decent wrestling. Danielson and Garcia defeat the Profits in 11-18 when Danielson pinned Dox with a running knee. 72. It was a bit of a shame when we lost Danielson to just doing pay-per-views only, but the fact he feels physically fine to do all shows now, it's just getting him in as many times as we can to aid Garcia, despite Daniel Garcia's pop cap, which limits him to 70. And some words from Jade Cargill on Yamashita after the victory from the Japanese star last week. She says it was a fluke. She'll never ever beat her again. And the next time that she gets her hands on Yamashita, she's going to pick up the win because she's that bitch. 83. I'm not too sure how I'm going to go booking wise with it. Yamashita seems to be popped out max at 75. Jade I know can get just under 80. Sorry, just under 90 with her highest amount of pop. So the win would probably, in that eyes, be more beneficial on Jade Cargill. But there's no denying how good Yamashita is in this save, so we've got to consider that. So it's up in the air, but these two will do battle again down the line. Next matchup was again trying to get over Top Flight, and they took on the Grizzled Young Veterans and their previous guys. But it was one here for them. Dante Martin pins Zach Gibson with a springboard car in 11:32, 78. Pretty solid stuff. I need to get them in a place where they can finally take over from the Young Bucks, etc., and get some tag title reigns. But that's been my fault. They've always had great matches, but they've never quite picked up the victory in the big one. And hopefully we can change that. Next up, a few words from the TNT champion, Keith Lee. He said it's been really interesting to see how Rampage has certainly evolved since he's become the TNT champion, and he's looking forward to see who steps up and challenges him in not only Grand Slam, but potentially at the Dynamite anniversary, where all wrestlers from all three brands will be ready and available. We then had a matchup between Matty Wahlberg and Gable. Matty picks up the win in 11:49 with a posterizer. 69 here. I really like the guy. I think he's really just the future Miz in my opinion, but we had him in Carnage for a long period of time alongside Logan Paul and Hook, when obviously Hook was the bodyguard. Obviously Hook's moved on, Logan Paul's away to New Japan, and Matty Wahlberg picks up the win here because he calls out Ricky Starks. That's the man he's had a bit of issue with, and he just says that Starks likes to run his mouth, he likes to talk the talk. Well, Matty Wahlberg's going to keep on talking until he takes the IWGP United States Championship away from Starks. So 76, building up to their potential match down the line. It should be main event time next. And yeah, it just didn't deliver, which is a bit of a shame. Exceptional matchup. MJF defeats Takeshita in 22-17 with a Swanton bomb, thanks to distraction from the Punishment Priest. 82, Takeshita went 85 off his game. MJF went 89. Yeah, I was kind of hoping to maybe score it into the low 90s, but the other benefits of this one is Takeshita has very good psychology, and you hope like a match of this magnitude can help MJF get that start from 80 to hopefully an 82 at one point, but at the same time Takeshita can carry this type of match without massive penalty. But overall, 83, it does the job. Some good matches on the show. Some stuff in the future that we'll see in the next couple of weeks. Obviously some you'll not see because it'll be on Rampage, some you'll see at the pay-per-view next week at Grand Slam, but overall pretty solid stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, basically 3 recorded videos into one there, just to give you an idea of my booking off stream and off video. Let me know how you guys book, if this is anything like anybody else, or if people are a lot more in depth with it. I feel definitely because there's 3 brands that I can maybe have less story, and it's more just a case of building people up, having prize fights. But I'm intrigued to see how others book, that's definitely for sure. It's always good to compare and see where you can improve as a booker, because I feel I could improve a lot. But regardless, thank you much for watching. A wee thumbs up would be deeply appreciated. Remember, check out the Fantasy Booker subreddit, the Grey Dog software forums, and other content creators. And until next time, this was 21 Maxwell. I'll see you all for Grand Slam in a week's time. Bye bye.